Studio Game Report. The man, Kyle and Nash. We are a quarter away into the NFL season, and we know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yeah, no, seriously. Some dip. Probably Booger McFarland last week on primetime said something about the season taking shape. No, it hasn't. Shut up.
Yeah, what's clear, and I actually this was a title for my solo pod I did earlier. You know, there aren't really any great teams, but there are a lot of really good ones.
I guess
no pullaways yet.
There's a few. Yeah, that is true. There are no pullaways yet, even though I still feel like Buffalo and Kansas City are head and shoulders.
Agreed. Yeah.
Hey, even though they won, an argument can be made that they shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. That's a whole other question. I'm sure we'll get into that at some point, or if you don't, we will on the stream.
You talking about the Bills? I mean,
yeah, talking about how close they were to.
Because we can start there right now. That's the first thing on the docket.
Oh, great!
Because Jim Harbaugh. Because I'm going to ask you a quick.
Mm-hmm.
I might ask you in text, but I didn't get a clear answer on this. So we'll ask here.
I don't know that you did, but go ahead.
Okay. Did you have a problem with Jim Harbaugh going for a fourth down there?
So I'll lead with my breakdown with this. If you look at that play that took place, a receiver ran open in the back of the end zone. Credit to the Bills defense for pressuring Lamar Jackson into making a throw that was flat. He tried to do it off his back foot. We saw him last week kick Mark Andrews for a touchdown off his back foot. This time the back foot throw didn't work. The receiver came open. The right play call was made. Give some credit to the Bills defense. I don't think there's enough talk about that here because media. Pressuring L-Jack into his back foot throw, and this one didn't go well. Put some of that, a small percentage of that on L-Jack for not delivering the throw. But we are inches away from this conversation being completely different. Mm-hmm. And what I will maintain, as I have maintained over however many years with you, Ernest Christian, even if he had gotten the touchdown, I'm still saying, take the points for the love of God.
And that was my thing. Like, it doesn't look. I do like that. For years I tell coach, say that, I hate when coaches ask players to be aggressive, and then but it doesn't really rectify on their coaching, not being aggressive. Mm-hmm. And I don't mind coaches being aggressive on fourth down in that spot. Third quarter, second quarter, first quarter. That doesn't bother me. That's a good thing, actually. But in a situation like that where it's literally probably your last drive of the game, possibly last drive of the game, and you're in a tie game, you're going to be guaranteed a lead most because first of all, probably the best kicker in NFL history in 1801. So he's not missing this kick.
Tucker is a bad
mother. Right, exactly. So my thing is this. I know the defense was not playing well in the second half, but at the same time, if you take the 3 points, mentally the defense is thinking probably, okay, this one stop. Let's get one stop. So he needs one stop. Instead, now you not only do you not convert, the Bills start from the 20-yard line.
Right. Well, see, that's I think that's the part. And when you heard Harbaugh talk about it, he assumed that if we get it wrong, it's 1st and 98. I dare you.
No,
that's not what happened here.
Right.
I don't think Harbaugh accounted for an interception as part of his equation in his mind, and he's always been an aggressive coach. Right. There are certain times when aggressive is correct. Rarely will you see me in a position to take points off the board and being happy with it. That is not normally what I prescribe. The one thing I think is different is when he went for it for 2 so much to go for the win rather than the tie. But there's a lot more that goes into that decision. I think those decisions from last year are way different than this. And for the people, well, he doesn't trust his defense. Let's say the defense,
I love that.
Yeah, right. Let's say the defense fails. Because I'm not so sure they do necessarily either. Keep in mind, your heroes, the great Josh Allen, was held to only 23 points even after that, right? For those that think Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league, newsflash, he's not.
He's climbing, but he's not there. Yeah.
He's really good. He's top 5. He's not the best in the league. I don't know that he ever will be the best in the league so long as Patrick Lavon Mahomes II exists. The punchline is this, though, EJ Christian. It's a situation where, let's say the defense does fail. You don't trust Lamar Demetrius Jackson to tie the game back up? That's interesting. That's what I read from it if we're going to talk about a lack of trust. But to everybody's point, and based on what we kind of said here, I don't think Harbaugh thought about it that far ahead. He wanted to throw the knockout punch and end the game there in his mind, and that's not what happened here.
I will say this about in terms of the media too, in reaction to this, at least the blame is going in the right direction. At least we're not hearing, oh, Lamar Jackson made a terrible throw there and he couldn't come through in the end in the clutch. When in fact, you said it correctly there on the top here. Mm-hmm. Credit the Bills defense. They defended that play tooth and nail on both ways, not just pressuring Lamar Jackson to make an errant throw, but also the secondary doing a great job.
And not the entire defense. Let's be clear. That receiver did come open. It's the front.
Yeah.
And Micah Hyde being hurt and out for the year is a big deal, a big part of that. I'm not trying to jump on the Bills by any stretch of the imagination saying this, that, or the other thing. The secondary does owe the defensive front a few beers for making that throw happen. And we're not talking about that, or at least the lamestream media isn't, Ernest Christian.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of lamestream media, it started already yesterday on a bunch of shows, ESPN shows, First Take and Get Up and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
You waste your time with and allow to continue stealing our money.
Well, look, I've said it on this podcast numerous times. I am a sucker for Stephen A. Smith. It's my guilty pleasure. I love watching that show, even when they get ridiculous. I acknowledge that.
Win.
It's a guilty pleasure.
Win. Always win.
Yeah. Anyway.
All the narrative win, no matter what.
So the narrative now we're seeing 4 weeks in is the question they're asking now across all those platforms. Is the NFC East back? The NFC Beast. No. I'm with you.
Okay, but for the purposes of production, stop it. Okay.
Thank you. Because I agree with you. Because I agree with you for the record.
You bring up the ESPN group and I expect that. Rich Eisen had that as an overreaction topic that there'll be 3 playoff teams from the NFC East.
You're an Eisen guy too? So am I.
Oh my God.
I'm back on Eisen bandwagon now.
I've been an Eisen guy before it was cool.
Oh, me too. But I took a little break, not on purpose, just cause whatever, but I'm back on the Eisen thing now because I love his content. It's great content.
And Bill Simmons' time isn't there to be wasted by you. No. The guy that got called boring by PBS? Anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you're never living that down. You know that, right?
I understand that. Go ahead.
But yeah, when his group is on there, I go from because I consume his show and clips on YouTube typically.
I do too, also.
And he goes from a very serious segment talking about Tua and that situation.
Right.
And the next segment is Overreaction Monday I'm watching where this comes up. It's goddamn depressing. Listen, not your Giants. You're not a Giants fan.
Stop. Stop that!
With a wildcat. That's how rough their quarterback situation, and you're calling goddamn playoffs? Stop it.
Look.
I'm having fun with Riptide Rush too. And you'll see in the matchup mania on the 3pointconversion.com that sooner or later they're going to play good teams. If you want me to take you seriously, Dallas, with Riptide Rush, beat the Rams next week, okay?
No, I am 100,000% with you on that one. And I say as a Giants fan for the record.
Who's that?
The Giants fan for the record.
Who is that though?
Who is that? What?
The Giants fan. There isn't one on this show.
Stop. No. So I understand why they're doing this because they're looking at it as an aesthetic. Eagles 4-0, Cowboys 3-1, Giants 3-1. We get it. The records. But as we've always said this podcast for years, and I'll continue saying it, not every 3-1 team is created equal. Okay, the Chiefs and the Giants ain't in the same club, son. Let's start right there. Okay, they're both 3-1. The Bills and the Cowboys not in the same club, son. Let's stop that noise right there. Okay, look,
are you leaving out the part 2 where like there's still another 13 goddamn games on here?
Well, right. And look, I get it. Right, I know I'm with you, and yeah, I get it. They do it for content. We get all that. But even if we were to go deeper into the numbers, into the team, look, Philadelphia, I'll give you that. Philadelphia's been impressive 4-0 out the gate. Okay.
Well, I can
Dallas
make an argument too that they should have done a lot more than they did. They had a Jacksonville Jaguar team who handed them the ball 5 times and still only won by a score.
Listen, look,
I'm throwing snowballs at Santa for that
shit.
But
Kyle, let's be real here now. They spotted them 14 points and still covered the spread. What does that tell you?
Again, after 5 turnovers, you're making my point. for me, Ernest Christian.
No, I'm just saying it wasn't a pretty game.
Snowballs at the very Santa Claus that actually handed them the gift.
Oh no, I'm with you. I wasn't pretty, but they after the 14 points, they put the clamps down pretty much.
No, that's not putting the clamps down when you get handed the ball 5 times from no. Listen, I know you're
that's a lot of no's there, buddy.
And no. Yeah,
no.
This is the advantage of video. Like, we can get the cadence down. That's awesome.
Yeah. This segment's on Earnestly Speaking podcast YouTube page. So check it out, please. This is on playlist too with Record Studio Game Report. So
what playlists?
Oh yeah, really?
You were in video. You wouldn't even watch my stuff.
It wasn't a clamps down. Do my favorite Colin impression. This is my favorite Colin impression. Oh, you say put a clamps down. Oh no, it's not. Go ahead.
I don't even know what that was. It's fun. I'll grant you that.
No. It's all aesthetic. 3-1, 3-1, 4-0. We get that. But go dive deep numbers. Are the Cowboys a playoff team? I actually think they are a playoff team, but they're not a top tier playoff team.
You're still wrong, but that's cool.
Okay. The Giants, no. Stop. Beat Green Bay on Sunday in London. We'll have a conversation. And even then, I'm still having doubts. That's all I'm saying. That, to me, the whole NFC, I get its content, I get all that, but it is not back. Stop.
Well, I mean, after how the Packers looked against your Patriots, I can see why there might be a fervor of confidence in true Giants fans that they can
make it happen first, and we'll talk. I'll still say, even with the struggles out the gate right now and the horrible coaching out the gate for 4 weeks, the AFC West still better than NFC East, top to bottom.
Sure. At some point, talent wins the day, and Andy Reid is, in fact, Andy Reid.
I'm not even going to include Andy Reid. Forget the Chiefs. I'm talking about the other 3 teams. I'll still take those 3 teams over. Yeah. So,
listen. Justin Hurt is doing great for being hurt.
I started there. I like that. Hey. Early. So who's your MVP right now? What quarter in? Obviously, we as you guys know, this podcast, we do the team by team grades in the middle of the year. I was tempted to do it right now, but I want to save that for the middle of the season when we go balls to the wall with that one. Right now, who is your early MVP clubhouse leader?
No, and listen, I know there's going to be a few things out there that will claim, I think one example, someone's going to say Jalen Hurts. That's a horrible pick. There's a lot of
wait. Why is it horrible though?
Because it's horrible. Okay. There's the reason why the running is successful isn't just because of Jalen Hurts. That line's doing great. And Miles Sanders at running back doing his job as well. Like, as a team, they're running the football. For a quarterback to truly be an MVP candidate, in my mind, you got to be more impressive than that throwing the football. And I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he's not an MVP. I feel like this is something where, and I don't know who the Eagles' backup is off the top of my head, but if you have a similar...
Your boy.
Who's my boy this week?
Your boy from 3 years ago. Gardner Minshew.
That ain't my boy, but no, Uncle Rico.
Uncle Rico. You made him big about it on the podcast 3 years ago, remember?
I had fun with it because he looked like Uncle Rico, dude.
It's your boy.
Don't overplay your hand here. But
it's content.
Yeah, it's still Minshew. Okay, no, that I didn't know. But yeah, I'll put it this way. That would be fascinating to see if Uncle Rico would fit into this offense. But I don't see, like, if you take Hurts out, if you take Jalen out, I don't think it hurts as bad as for an actual MVP, right? For my money, there could be somebody, a guy that is going to get played, but I don't think should get it either, is probably Deebo Samuel. But at the end of the day, too, that would be completely neglecting that defense for San Francisco. And you could tell, like, I've kind of wrestled with this. I'm not really sure who to crown as such.
I have one.
It's leaning me kind of towards Patrick LeVon Mahomes the second, but I have issues with that too,
Mm-hmm.
No, who are you dancing with?
And this is only because of the record, because again, I mentioned on
the
top of the show,
at the quarter season point, record can matter here in your assessment. Sure.
It's Saquon Barkley.
No.
There isn't a guy right now in the league that matters to one team in terms of how we look at the talent discrepancy than Saquon Barkley.
He should be a candidate.
I was going to say Mahomes at one point too, also, but when you literally are the only guy producing on offense, or the only guy, Like Daniel Jones just stole the verdict out there.
But
if they weren't, if they were, look, Kyle, if they weren't 3-1, I say no.
I said
the record has to matter too.
I'm not killing you for this. No,
right.
You've had worse answers, God knows. But
yeah, of course, yeah.
I it's hard to argue that. You're warming me up to a bit. I don't know that I would pick him right now. Certainly, when I make the point about him marching out in the Wildcat to finish a game, albeit against the hapless Bears, I see where you're coming from. The only reason why I negate it is the schedule overall and how awful
of course,
it has been for the Giants.
The only reason why I'm 3-1 in the first place
is the schedule, right? The schedule is their MVP. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
So, but and I know, but Kyle, the Colts beat the Chiefs. No, well, yeah, that's true. But I think that was more about coaching than it was about Patrick Mahomes II. The dude wanted to stay on the field and put away the knockout punch. They negated him, and we see what happened. So I think that's actually, I'm doing a little spin to make that a positive on Patrick Mahomes II. Yeah.
So he is Mahomes. Okay. So then who's your coach of the year so far?
Man, listen, and I know it's trendy to do. I think the problem in this assessment that I'm offering, it's kind of skewed because a lot of times with coaching candidates, turnaround guys always get a leg up, for better or worse.
Yeah.
And it's with that in mind. I don't know how the hell you don't go Doug Peterson right now. Who the hell else can claim a better resume? And it's just by sheer circumstance. Like maybe there's a guy who's done a better coaching job out there this year. I mean, you got your Andy Reids out there. Belichick getting what he has out of his team, even though they're losing games, it might be a consideration, but he's losing games. So,
yeah.
Right. It's not Nathaniel Hackett. I know that.
He may have a job in 5 weeks.
Right. So I say all of it. It's not Man Campbell. He's lost too many close games, but if those go his way, he might be in the conversation, right? But again, that's another turnaround candidate, right? If we're talking about somebody who's maintaining, you can't say McVay, right?
No.
His teams are taking back. Could you say Marone in Buffalo? Possibly.
No, not Marone. No, Marone. You mean Sean McDermott.
Thank you, McDermott. Sorry, I get them mixed up. You can't say him right now necessarily compared to Peterson, can you? So no, I if you got a guy other than Peterson, I'm glad to hear it. But
Peterson is the only other guy I'm considering other than the guy I'm going to mention. I'll go homer again. It's Brian Daboll. Again, record. Again.
Stop.
Kyle, listen.
Stop it.
This is not a good football team. The reason they are 3-1. Listen. The reason they're 3-1. The reason they're 3-1.
Listen, you're overcompensating. We know you're not a Giants fan, and you're trying to hide it.
No, I'm not. Yeah. Because Peterson's the other guy I was mentioning too, also. But how about this for a second? I'm Daboll right now because again, 3-1. Quarterback's still a big question mark. Obviously, defense is pretty good. That's what I'll say. Defense has been really, really good for the team, if anything. But again, not a good football team. Acknowledging that 3-1, and mainly because of coaching and because of Saquon Barkley. That's the MVP. And of course, Peterson. I'm with you on the Peterson thing, especially.
Who is he out coaching? I don't. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
But again,
I don't want to beg this point.
It goes because your point is going to go to the whole schedule thing with Saquon too. Also, the MVP conversation. I agree with you on that.
Yeah,
but it is what it is, though.
Northie granted a limited one, but I can, and again, because I can actually look at a loss and say Peterson made this happen where the Eagles were this close. Meanwhile, sneaking past sorry teams. Right. Let's keep in mind you should have lost to the Titans.
I agree. And that was a coaching won that game for them, especially.
Coaching
go for it on 2. Having the ball go for it on 2 instead of like playing for the time.
I mean,
that's a decision.
But no, you're not wrong. But also, where are you accounting for missed field goal in that? Anyway.
No. Well, right. But real quick though, and I know we love to shit on this team all the time and the coach all the time. Mike McCarthy, 3-1.
Stop.
I'm asking you a question. Is he in the conversation at least right now?
No,
today?
He's half the reason they're struggling. He's half the reason they're barely beating these teams, right? He was being forced into better habits because the team is injured does not make you a good coach, EJ. You and I both know if Dak remained healthy, if the O-line didn't have those issues, he'd still be doing the same hapless crap. So no.
Okay, that's the question. I'm not saying. To me, it's a two memories. Maybe it's Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia, but to me, it's between Dayball and Peterson.
It's hard to not consider him. I mean, if you're going to give me this Dayball crap.
It's not crap, though.
It is, though.
It's not crap. They're 3-1. They're 3-1.
The fact it's dumb.
They're not a good team.
Listen, I know that Parcells used to be a Giants coach, and he's the one that came up with this trash of you are what your record says you are. No, you're not. Okay? It's weird how you're going to campaign schedule to pick a Giants MVP candidate and then crap all over it when you're talking coach. You can't have that shit both ways, EJ.
Wait. What do you mean by that, though?
What do I mean by that? You're picking what's his butt? You're picking Saquon Barkley as an MVP candidate when the MVP is the schedule. You're picking Daboll as the wrong Brian, right? According to Bill Belichick. And again, you're throwing out the schedule. You can't argue
the schedule
things and then throw it out for others.
But you're bringing up the schedule, not me. I acknowledge the schedule, but at the same time,
no, you're not. Actually, that's what I'm saying. You don't acknowledge the schedule. Your votes are telling me that. Does that make sense?
You're frustrating, Kyle. You know that.
Listen, facts can be frustrating when you choose to ignore them, bitch. Moving on.
Hit a fact. 3-1. It was really 3-1 now. All right.
It's also a number that's lying.
Speaking of coaches, staying on the theme here.
Yes.
I have 5 coaches I want to rank scale 1 to 10. 10 being the hottest seat, 1 being the obviously cold. I have 5 coaches right now who I believe might be on hot seat. I don't know, but it's a lot of conversation about. I've heard people in media in the last couple of weeks, mention these guys. Maybe. So I'm going to ask you these 5 coaches. Number 1, Matt Rule in Carolina, 1 to 10, hot seat. Where's he at?
7. Though I would argue not all of it may air quote be his fault. I think there's been a lot of roster issues since around that time where you had that mass exodus of talent, right? Olsen, Cam Newton, who, finally disappeared. Luke Kuechly, his retirement, all those guys all disappearing at once. I know I'm leaving some out, but the punchline is those guys all disappearing basically at the same time and more. That talent is not returned to the room. But I think it's pretty safe to rule Matt out. So I'm going to say 7. And it could get worse depending on how Baker continues to not perform.
QBR is 15 right now through 4 games.
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. No. And still, sadly, second best quarterback in the NFC
division.
South. Well, actually, no, wait. Mariota might have passed him. We have to consider that. As much as fraudulent as the Falcons are, Mariota's done a decent job. I have to say, serviceable at the very least.
I'm going to go 8 because of one reason.
Mm-hmm.
That owner, Dave Tepper, is thirsty as fuck. Like, he's like probably the next Jim Irsay coming up. I'm not without the drugs, of course. He wants a winner now. He's ready to win. He's been very clear about that. He wants to win. And the fact that Matt Rule's on a 6-year contract and they're not even halfway through the contract yet, and there's already reports about him maybe on the outs, bad sign. Tepper wants to win now. So,
well, if there's a time to move to get better, it is now, while Brady is aging right there before our eyes, as he did this past week. Not to say that won't go away this time next.
Of course.
It's Brady's Brady, but
of course.
Look, this past weekend on Sunday night,
Right. Next guy here, Frank Reich in Indianapolis, 1 to 10.
He's going to be in more trouble than I think he should be. Simply because, you have constant rotating rosters. They couldn't keep hold of their defensive situation being as good as it was. Replacing receivers has not gone the way they'd like. Unless Reich has a big part of those decisions in personnel, getting rid of him does not fix those problems. That being said, boy, this team looks bad. beating the Chiefs might have silenced people for a week, but they're back now that they lost to the Titans all over again. I didn't have a chance to look at the injury report to see if Buckner was in the game or not. But if Buckner was in the game and Derrick Henry did to them what he did to them, that's problematic to say the least. I'm going to say 8. Simply because of thirst. Like you said, this is a team who still feels jaded that they should have been in the playoffs last year. And the expectation, because that happened, the expectation that they're going to come back was all but an inevitability. I made this mistake. We made this mistake too, EJ Christian. And because those expectations are what they are, and they've only gotten a win on a pure fluke by way of that Chiefs game, it's not looking good, man.
No, I want to go as high as you, Kyle, for the same reason with Matt Rule being as high as he is, because thirsty owner, Jim Irsay's the thirstiest owner in the entire league, by far. Jerry Jones wannabe. We call him that for years.
I mentioned the past expectations and stuff like.
Right.
This is a dude who not only lost Peyton Manning to a different franchise, but then turned around and also lost Andrew Luck. Like, there has got to be some psychology tied to that, right?
Right.
So,
no, I'm gonna go 6. And
really?
the only reason I go lower because I think they'll turn things around. I think because they'll lucky be 1-1-2. To be honest with you, 1-2-1.
You're making assumptions, not in evidence, so that's why your numbers.
No, right. I think
if you're right and they get into the playoffs, I think there's something to that.
I think the division's still relative. Well, I mean, look, Jacksonville's better than most people thought they were going to be. Tennessee is starting to play a little better now. I do think Indy, though, will. I have faith they'll figure some things out going forward.
Here's where I will meet you, and I have said this previously. I think on either mine or this pod, maybe both, and also written thusly in the 3-point conversion and in my preview. Bing! If the Jags suffer too many starting injuries or 1 or 2 significant injuries on that defense, they're screwed. Mm-hmm. So there's still plenty of time for that to happen too. But again, you're accounting for things not in evidence, which is fine.
Maybe a 7 because Jim Irsay is very.
We can talk about 7 and 8, and that difference is fine. 2 numbers down, I was like, that's a little much, but yeah.
But he's high based on Irsay.
I can get behind a 7. You're good.
Okay. Next one here, and this is going to be a surprise to a lot of people. His name's he mentioned here, but considering that he's arguably probably the GOAT, Bill Belichick in New England.
Yeah. We're going to give that a 6. I don't think Robert Kraft is as high as all of it as much as Boston fans are. First of all, in any sport, Boston fans are dumb. I think we can account for that, right?
Damn.
Other than perhaps in hockey. Because the Bruins just have struggled throughout history lately in the NHL. You know about that, right?
Hockey fan, yeah.
Right.
You know they had a good year last year, though. They did okay.
They did, but how typical is that? Is my point, right? It's about as typical as the Milwaukee Bucks being good in the NBA. This is a recent phenomenon.
Were they good now?
Right?
Yeah.
So no, but I mean, and in general, listen, Boston fans are good for impatience. That's a fact. Even Boston fans will tell you, the Beantown Championship, wicked pizza, all that. So, I think they produce a lot more nice. I don't think Bob Kraft is ready to quit on Belichick yet, especially with injuries to Mac Jones and competing with Bailey Zappa.
Is that Frank Zappa's grandson?
I'm not
Zappy.
Sure. Yeah, Zappa.
You went 6 though. Interesting.
So no, but yeah, 6 because it's over 500. If things somehow begin to look worse, one has to wonder if Bill is somewhat out of touch. And also, I have to put 6 because like at some point you have to wonder if Belichick gets sick of it. He's like, help with this. I'm out. I'm on to Cincinnati. Well, that's not where my retirement home is, but I'm on to there anyway. Like at some point he might just say F it. I'm older than 45. I got a lot of ish to worry about.
Yeah, I do share a lot of what you're saying there in detail about the possibility of him being sick of it and possibly him making the personal decisions he's made 30 years, which is flopped on his head. But I'm gonna go 4 because I think the Mac Jones injury saved him.
Yeah, okay. You're putting a lot of stock in that.
Losing your quarterback, okay, well, what do I have here to work with? You know what I'm saying? So he'll have a chance to reset next year. But I do think going into 2023, he's someone to look at as, is this the final year of Bill Belichick? Really? I know we said in the past, but that's mostly because of infighting him and Brady and all that. But now this is on him now, and the team has not really been successful post Brady. And that's to say is Brady leaving. I think that the team is probably almost as bad even with Brady, because a lot of it is a talent issue in New England.
Right. And right. Brady couldn't do anything with here on his way out. If you remember, his last play as a Patriot is throwing an interception, but nobody wants to talk about that.
Right.
What I do want to say, though, with all of that, something to consider, too, if the Bills are successful and win the Super Bowl, as I believe we've predicted, I know I did on the Student of the Game podcast, bing! I think Buffalo will take a step back, losing a myriad of talent for dudes that are going to get paid.
Yeah.
So them coming back to earth now puts in my mind the Finns and Belichick and the Patriots back in competition for the division. So if in 2023 he turns around and sneaks out of the AFC East with another title on him when after Brady's retired, I said it. I think that will be very interesting television. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's why I can't go higher than 6 right now. He's going to make it through this season. I don't think anybody's going to dispute that. I think he's going to start next season unless something egregious happens,
And only that, even if there's a scale we're doing here for Belichick, I do think that he'll leave first before he gets fired, honestly.
Probably. If he's about to get fired, I think Kraft and he will be talking behind doors, and it'll be a resignation.
Right.
And a retirement.
Kind of what Tom Coughlin did in New York, actually. He wasn't fired technically. They made an agreement and he resigned.
Okay.
When he returned.
I don't think
it wasn't firing.
Yeah, it won't be an effigy, I think is your point. And
right.
Yeah, that's safe to say of Coughlin. Right.
All right, 2 more names here. How about this one? And I gotta eat crow on this one early. Ron Rivera in Washington.
Oh yeah. No, he's a fat kid in dodgeball. Yeah, no. 9, definitely. F that guy. Yeah, no. So done. Done. Was carried to success by Cam Newton despite himself. I have never been a Riverboat Ron guy. I've been on your show talking about how I think he's ridden Cam's coattails, or cape, as him being
you said that.
And no, I never thought Rivera was a good coach. And in a situation where he has basic pieces, I'm not here to say that Carson Wentz is a great quarterback or anything like that, but I mean, the way you were embarrassed by your Cowboys and Riptide Rush last week, right? No, I think that's kind of a what's his words, an example of Ron Rivera and all of that going on. I mean, how did you let Trent Williams get out the door? I know the NFL is a business and all that, but no, you're going to bring in Carson Wentz and you ship your best guy up until he got hurt here in San Francisco. I mean, no, God, no. Sorry. My timeline may not be perfect on Trent Williams, but yeah, I just, no.
Well, I'm going to go a little lower than you, but I do share the same passion. Yeah, I would have said maybe 3 or 4 last week. This Dallas loss this past week is pretty bad. Granted,
you think wait, that was the straw for you? Because I think Rivera's
but I think when you consider Dallas again, this is Cooper Rush, not Dak Prescott's quarterback, and not only do you lose that game, they pretty much handled Washington. That was a convincing win.
Now the problem is who can they bring in as a solid coach?
The problem is I don't think Daniel Snyder will be the owner of that team much longer. I think his days are numbered.
You think that's a problem? I don't think that's a problem.
No, that's a good thing for the Washington Commodores, Commanders, when they call it.
Oh,
but it depends on who takes over the team, what the ownership is, and all that.
Sure.
But I think with that loss, I think, and again, no one in the media right now is talking about Ron Rivera right now, like nationally. Anyway, I haven't heard anything about that. I've heard more about Matt Rule and all that. But I think probably after this week, because they play Tennessee this week at home.
I think the main reason he's not talked about is his departure is seen kind of like Thanos' arrival, inevitable.
Right. They play Tennessee at home this week.
Yeah.
A game that It's not a lose. I mean, they could win that game at home, but they might not. And if they lose this game to Tennessee, that's 1-4, and that's an issue. And I think after this weekend, you'll hear all the chatter about Rivera's future at that point. But you heard it here first on this show that we think Rivera is almost cake, done, baked in Washington. I agree with you. I'm giving it 8 actually too.
Okay.
All right. Last one here. And I know this guy just got an extension this past offseason, but still, we have to talk about it. That is the 2-2 Cliff Kingsbury and the Arizona Cardinals.
Golly, for all the trash that people talk on the Cardinals, I could argue that 2-2 is an overperformance, right? I have, a matter of fact, I said it on the Student of the Game podcast. Bing! With that schedule, if they're 2-2 to open the season, I'm feeling more confident in them as a playoff team.
I did say it too. If they're 3-3 for Hopkins gets back, yeah.
Yeah, right. I might have said 3-3 as well. I don't remember that part, but yeah, you certainly did. And it's not time to. You have to grade this credit card. This card. You have to grade this report card incomplete at this point. What will determine Cliff Kingsbury's fate will be how he does come December. Now, there's nothing really to talk about yet. Although to credit, he's won a couple games. That I shouldn't say a couple games that he shouldn't have. That's not accurate. Beating the Raiders surprised people. People were not prepared for Arizona to win that game. I wasn't. I'll grant you. But again, 2-2 out of these first 4 weeks. One of the games arguably being one they should have won, of course. I'm going to say a 2.
Okay.
I don't see anything to worry about. There are those out there that would be like, one good quarter of football? No, yeah. Kingsbury's good for the moment. Again, talk to me in January.
I'll go 3.
You man.
Because I do think there's to keep an eye on that situation. But I do agree with you on the December thing, because remember last year they started year 7-0. They were the talk of the town, Super Bowl, and then they nosedive into the playoffs last year, and they got embarrassed in the playoff game against the Rams. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, last one thing before we go. I got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 teams here. Playoff contender or pretender. Do you see this? Can you see this team in the playoffs this year? Okay. Here we go. First one: New York Jets, 2-2. Are they playoff contenders? Huh?
No.
Pretender?
Absolutely. Okay. You almost got beat by Kenny Pickett coming in late. By the way, I tried to tell him, but he wouldn't listen. Oh, but Kyle, he threw 3 interceptions. Bitch, first of all, one of them was a Hail Mary at the end of the game. Doesn't count. Next, the other one was in the receiver's hands. Yeah, it was thrown high, but both hands surrounded the football. But that's Kenny Pickett's fault. Sure. Then the last one, receiver falls backwards. You're supposed to attack the football. You're an NFL receiver. You're supposed to attack the football. That being said, I will put that one on Pickett. It was a double team and probably not the best decision on the field. But the receivers falling backwards, you're supposed to be attacking the football. You didn't. I'm not going to put that on the rookie quarterback. That being said, I'll give him that as a 1 interception. The other 2, one is a statistical anomaly. The other was in the guy's hands, and he still almost won the damn football game. If TJ Watt were healthy, he would have. And instead, we're talking about the super overrated Zach Wilson. That's adorable. He'll be sitting on the couch at home, more likely to see Pickett in the playoffs than he there himself. Hashtag I said
it. Pretender. Come on now. This ain't even in Cleveland.
That's correct. Good point, Ernest Christian. Wow. Very succinct.
In fact, that 2-2 is a miracle, honestly. Our next team here, we have the 2-2 Cincinnati Bengals. It's pretty easy, I'm sure.
They're a contender, sure. Especially with how they're looking. This weekend will help me answer that question a bit more. As
big one.
Ravens upcoming, right? They are indeed involved in the matchup mania this week. Bing! On the 3-point conversion.
By the way, make sure you drop those links in my Ernest Speaking community on my Facebook page. Please. Okay. You slacked last couple of weeks. I had to go look at it.
Listen, we'll talk about who actually slacked off air, sir. But yeah, I will do what I can. Yes.
Okay, next. So obviously contender as well too here. This one's interesting. Stay in division. The Cleveland Browns, 2-2.
For now, I'm going to say pretender. I have no reason at this juncture to believe in them just yet. Because 2-2 is about where I would have had the Browns, but especially after losing to the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. Yeah. It's weird how they've gotten here. I did not expect them to win games they have, but I also did not expect them to lose games they did. Granted, yeah, I did pick the Browns to win that Thursday night game against Pittsburgh, but I wouldn't have done that in the preseason, So I predicted in the preseason probably about 2-2 to open the season because Brissett's better than people gave him credit. And then, I'm still kind of dumbfounded by the Falcons game. I have to be honest.
They are very disappointing to me right now. Let me tell you why. Do you understand? They can be easily 4-0 right now.
You keep doing that.
No. Listen to me a second.
Yeah.
Look at the 2 losses they had this year.
Yeah.
And no. And the way they lost, not because they lost the game, the way they lost.
Yeah.
The Jets game against Atlanta. Easy 4-0. We were discussing when you were starting the whole Deshaun Watson thing, remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so how many games? Now, prior to him getting 11 games, he got in 6. And we did a thing. We did a segment on the show discussing, okay, if they can survive this and go through the schedule and Deshaun gets back, could they be a team that runs away? And I made a case from saying it's not a random possibility because the schedule works out decent for them. They blew the low. They blew it for themselves because had they won the we'll give you the Atlanta loss on Sunday. You're 3-1, beat the Jets. Well, you should beat the Jets.
Right.
You're 3-1. I would have said contender because all the elements that what they do, run the football well, defense is solid. Brissett, not a bad backup. You can hold that fort. If you're 500 by the time Deshaun gets back, maybe you can get some energy there, and then you make the playoffs. But instead, you blew your low in 2 losses. So I'm gonna say pretender.
You're leaving out something very important here, right? Going into the Charger game, which again I kind of go towards with the matchup mania. Bing!
Right.
You're facing a Chargers team
just banged the fuck up.
Incredibly vulnerable. Banged the F up, as you very eloquently put it.
Right. Not only the schedule was fairly doable early on, it broke for you on the harder games now. It broke for you.
There you go. That's
you blew it.
Way to say it. That's the way to say it. So with an opportunity to be 5-0 potentially, or even we'll just say 4-1 after the Charger game, then your next 2 games are the Pats and the Ravens. Okay, you might still beat the Pats depending on Mac Jones' situation. But now the schedule gets tougher with Ravens, Bengals, Finns, Bills, Bucks. Oh my God, Murderer's Row is coming.
That's what we're saying. If you got you've had enough wins on the front end. That's why pretender. And I don't trust you.
Yeah,
you're proving I can't trust you. So pretender as well. How about this one? The LA Chargers 2-2.
They're still contending. I know it was the Texans this past weekend, but they're still winning football games with that group banged up. I expect them to lose to the Browns. I do expect that my prediction of them winning the division is now out the window, mostly because I only had them winning it by a single game anyway, but they are going to still make the playoffs. That's a fact.
And probably because Kansas City is better than we thought they were this year. They are to me.
They're starting better than we expected. I am not. We'll see how it maintains. And again, as much as we talk about starting better than I expected, they lost to the goddamn Colts. EJ, let's.
They lost, as you said earlier in the podcast. I go contender also too. You got Justin Herbert as quarterback. The AFC is kind of breaking for you right now too. There's no runaways like what you said earlier. Everything is because everybody's cannibalizing themselves. So you're still in the conversation. Maybe they get healthy in the next couple of weeks. Obviously both is out for 10 weeks though. That's not going to help. But we'll see how that goes. How about the Colts at 1-2-1?
Pretending now. We all fell for that shit, EJ Christian. Oh my God. It's I can't even put my finger on it more than Matt Ryan has proven he's less of a quarterback than Phillip Rivers. That's what we've learned.
So I I still want to say Contender because of the fact that, again,
It's
division.
Yeah.
Division, yes. But here's the problem with that statement, too. The division is better than we thought, too, also.
No.
Houston is not going to give me anymore. They tied Houston for crying out loud this year.
Houston, okay, well, maybe this is the difference between you and me of expectation. The Texans are not as bad as everyone said. I had criticized you for putting them, I believe you had them at 31 in your first bottom 5, if you remember.
Yeah.
I keep telling you details. Okay. I keep telling you constantly, I go all Lucifer Morningstar on how low you put them on the bottom 5. I keep telling you, but you won't listen, that they should be higher than you place them in your bottom 5. Are they even bottom 5 at this point? I think is a reasonable question, right? Davis Mills may not be sliced bread, but he's a good quarterback. I think he's just as good as Geno Smith. Hashtag I said it. Right? The difference is surrounding cast or lack thereof. Lovie Smith is getting a lot out of this group. I think we've shown how much better the coaching situation is now than last year, right? I don't think anybody's arguing that. So the Texans are what I thought they would be. It's the Titans and Colts being weaker than we expected, because I had the Titans winning that division. You had the Colts winning that.
Yes, I did.
And they're neither looking like anything
right
worth a damn.
And everything I said there is why I'm going to go Pretender, because the Jags are better. Houston could beat them again. Well, they tied them, but they could beat them. And
this division is not sending 2 playoff representatives.
No, hell no.
It's not happening.
No,
so
I think
the Jags are there. The others are done. Bingo.
Yeah, I'm going Pretender. I don't see them make playoffs because I think that they'll lose to the Jags again probably. I can't trust them.
It's looking that way, provided again the Jags do not suffer significant defensive.
Right, of course, yeah, of course. Staying division here, Tennessee Titans 2-2, 1-2 in a row.
Yeah, they're still pretending. They should have. They've already lost to the Giants. Granted, they shouldn't have lost that game. Hashtag missed kick. But I mean that they do have one tough game out of the way in beating the Raiders. That's fair. I don't know that the Titans win that game in the later weeks of the season once the Raiders and McDaniels get a chance to figure it out. I'm not saying they will either, because bad defense is bad defense, and well, Derrick Henry is going to crown you. I'm not going to call him king. I don't subscribe to that. I'm more likely to call LeBron James king than him. I digress. A running back being called king in this NFL makes no sense to me. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm going to go Contender because of the Colts. The Colts with a buffer. But now, let's see the Jaguars do going forward. If the Jaguars replace the Colts with the buffer,
acknowledge your contradicting yourself.
One team's getting the playoffs now in division. Okay,
and it's the Jags right now. So
it might be. But to me, what I will acknowledge is this though: it's between the Jags and Titans. That is it.
Okay, and Ray Charles could have seen that. Next question.
No, but again, we all had the Colts in division.
No, I had the Titans winning that division, sir.
Here's the question.
Listen to the Student of the Game podcast.
Can you see? No. Can you see the Titans winning the division this year, though? Can you see it?
Not today. Come back to me if the Jags.
You're all Jags now, okay? No, see, the things I can still see Tennessee winning the division because I got to see a little more from Jacksonville. So I'll say Contender as well, too. A contender. Well, it's a contender for the Titans.
You need to see more out of Jacksonville, yet you're ready to
larger sample.
A playoff.
I'm done with the Colts. I'm done. Obviously, Texans ain't doing shit. So it's a 2-team race at this point now.
All
right. How about this? The Raiders in Vegas, 1-3.
Oh God, so done. Boy, did they fool the ish out of me. Oh God. Man. Like I said, 10-win team. This is not a 10-win team. I did not realize their defense was this bad. I did not realize that McDaniels would that one Josh would forget the other Josh in McDaniels not running Jacob hardly at all. This is ridiculous. And listen, if you're getting outdone offensively by John Gruden, oh God, how did you ever survive with Belichick? I don't get that. Anyways.
So the 1-3, I'm going to say Contender for one reason. Okay.
Humor me.
The Broncos. No. Well, Broncos.
Because I think you're wrong. It's an interesting rebuttal.
The Broncos and that coach, number one. The Chargers are banged up. Okay. Adding a seventh playoff spot in the conference does some weird things, actually. So if they can win a couple games here and there, again, no runaways in the AFC. Right now the AFC North is a cluster right now between Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. Technically, when it's there. Yeah. How long's 2 out for Miami? I don't know.
There's no telling on that.
But that's my point, though. So a lot of things now are happening where if Vegas can right the wrong, what they did this week against Denver, it's a division rival, big game, and they continue to win some games going forward, all of a sudden now they're kind of that mix again. All those factors. So I can't write them off. Now, had they lost on Sunday, obviously they're done. They wouldn't be on this list because they'd be done. But the fact that they're talented enough. Now, granted, yeah, what you said about the defense obviously makes perfect sense. Worse than we thought. But can they figure things out in the next month or so and climb back to the race? Again, extra playoff spot in 7 seed, that kind of thing. They're not done yet, in my opinion. And I think because Denver didn't run. If Denver had won that game on Sunday, they're 3-1. You win a bad coach. And had they not fumbled the fucking ball twice on the goal line before, no.
So EJ Christian, answer these questions. Who is the best division in the NFL
right now?
Yeah. And don't look up records and stuff. Come on.
No, I'm not. I'm going ahead. I'll be honest with you. I kind of like the AFC North.
Not a horrible response, but okay. Who's the second best one?
Maybe the AFC East because of virtue of the.
Oh, shut up. Okay, this is pointless.
AFC West?
The AFC West and the NFC West are 2 of the top 4 divisions, and probably, in my opinion, the top 2.
But here's a question: are you going based on record or is it perception? Because yes, I agree, 2-2. Everybody's 2-2 in the NFC West, but Seattle ain't fucking good. Come on,
they're better than they're better than we predicted. I know that Seattle isn't good, but as weakest links in the chain go, Seattle's pretty goddamn strong. Name another team that's the bottom of your division that's better than the Seahawks. You're struggling, aren't you?
You mean this in perception or this in record?
In your precious power rankings, if you were going to take the 8 teams at the bottom of their division, Seattle would be among the top of those, right? Because they're not going to struggle against what? The Red Tails? That's not happening.
I still see Seattle's bottom 5 teams still, though.
They just beat the Lions, right? Okay. What about, the Bears? New, right?
They're 2-2 also.
What's that?
They're 2-2 also.
I can see how Seattle beats the Texans. I don't think that's a bold prediction. Do you? Seattle today looks like they could beat the Raiders. Do they not? That's my point. They have 9 games on the schedule with 2 divisions that we said were the top 2 in the NFL going into the season. Now, granted, some things have changed. Justin Herbert got hurt. Nathaniel Hackett's awful in a game that the Seahawks won, by the way. Granted, a lot of that has to do with 2 fumbles by running backs, but people want to blame Russell Carrington Wilson for that because the red zone percentage is low.
Oh, people are idiots.
One of those touchdowns are due to running back fumbles in the goddamn end zone, and our people are too stupid to realize that numbers lie. I say all that to say that's 9 of their 17 games. More than half their schedule, Ernest Christian, is against the tougher divisions in the NFL, according to us in the preseason, and they barely snuck by Nathaniel Hackett in my mind. Yeah, I know the scoreboard has a 9-point difference. I think it was closer than that, and frankly, I can make a plenty big argument that Nathaniel can't hack it, even with Russell Carrington Wilson at quarterback, injuries back there, blah, blah, blah. So that's why I don't believe, is because their schedule is too hard. By the way, your AFC North, which you cherish so much, they have to play. Sorry?
You cherish AFC North so much.
You just said the AFC North was the best division in football.
I said aesthetically speaking, I think it's based on I trust those teams more than I do anybody else.
Do you trust the Raiders to beat Kenny Pickett with some games under his belt and TJ Watt back in the rotation?
You gotta see.
That's not a yes or no. That's a dodge.
Yes, I do trust right now. I do.
You trust the Raiders to win that game.
Is that in Pittsburgh or in Vegas?
That is in Pittsburgh.
I'll say yes still.
You trust them to go on the well, okay. I'm just pointing out all sorts of inconsistencies in your own story.
Okay.
But do you trust them against the Jags in Jacksonville right now? Just say no.
But it also goes both ways though too with the Jags as well.
No. You're dodging.
But no, I'm not dodging. But I will say yes. Speaking of Jags, that's the next team on the list.
5 fumbled. 5.
I'm glad you said that. That's the next team on the list. Jags 2-2.
You have to say contender at this point. It has nothing to do with the record.
Yeah. No, I agree. Record helps though. I'll say that. Sure. How about this one?
Actually, wait. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off with your intro there. I'll do an EJ Christian here. The Jags could easily be 4-0, right?
That was good. Eyeball like my New York Giants, who are 3-1, contender pretenders.
Is that a new borough in New York?
Don't start your shit. What? Answer the fucking question.
Pretenders, you dumbass. Even the biggest fan would know better than this trash. You don't even know who's playing quarterback on Sunday. Stop it.
I'm the same way too. All right, how about 3-1 Dallas Cowboys?
They're the great pretenders. Oh my gosh. Like a team that was absolutely in the bottom 5 is playing out of their goddamn minds. It hadn't scored an offensive touchdown, or were the last team in the NFL to score an offensive touchdown. And to be honest, the Giants are winning games that they should have won were Dak still on the field. They're holding serve. The point has been made. I think it was Cowherd that said this. The point has been made that the drop off from one quarterback to the next with Dak and Cooper Rush is relatively low. I think a lot of that is, again, adjustments being made around the quarterback position rather than the quarterback position in and of itself. When's the last time, by the way, you've seen Dak run the football on something designed? It hasn't happened, right? I think that's also a coaching error.
It's a playoff game.
We're in a world, yeah, exactly. We're in a world which was a horrible coaching call too, by the goddamn way. Great call by you, EJ. Thank you. No, we're in a world where Trevor Lawrence is good for one running touchdown a game with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Dakota Prescott, who part of his selling point was his ability to move with his legs, is gone.
Yeah, this is true.
Anyways, I say all that to say because of the coaching, not so much the players, although Colin Cowherd has made poor efforts to argue to the contrary. See, I can criticize people I like. I do
for the Cowboys.
Is that it? Yeah, pretending all day.
No, I'm gonna. I said
the ceiling.
I said last week on my show before the game was Washington, they were a playoff team, and they won another game after that. So
you're still wrong.
Contender for me because
you're wrong, basically.
Because shut up. Because defense travels.
Okay, but I mean, you also have to score points.
NFC's weak, so they'll get in there. Plus Washington Commanders.
Hey, listen, to your point, NFC weak, extra playoff spot. That's really all you have to say. Everything else just hurts your argument.
Right, so contender. There you go. I was right. How about this one? The Detroit Lions, a team we're all big on coming to the year. 1-3.
Listen, I didn't have them as a playoff team before, and I don't know what happened to Dan Campbell's team, but their defense can't play worth a damn. Like, they're suffering from Romo disease right now, right? Oh, we scored 45 points. We gave up 48. I mean, what the bleep, dude? Geno Smith put up 48 on you. What the F? And I turn around in the very same breath, Ernest Christian, and then remind you without DJ Chark, Swift at running back, and I forget who the other. St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra. Like,
I love that name, by the way.
I think he should just not put St. Brown on back. Just put Ra, and we'll just call you Amon-Ra. We'll refer to you as the sun god, right?
Right.
Without the sun god gracing your roster, you still put up 45 points. How can you be so successful and yet fail so damn much? Probably part of it is having Jared Goff at quarterback, but
pretender.
Absolute pretender, sure.
Absolutely. Let's stop the noise.
But if we're going to make points about the division, the NFC North is a big part of why, if you think they're a contender, that they still are. Because they haven't played Aaron Charles Rodgers yet. I'm very, very interested to see how that game goes.
How about the frisky 2-2 Atlanta Falcons?
Shut up. Shut up. You're just doing this to trigger me. You know they're the fraud cons.
No, they're pretenders. I wrote down the pretenders also. I have notes here.
I mean,
pretenders.
Did Danny Thompson pay you? Is that what happened right now?
I miss Danny. I haven't talked in a long time. I gotta get him on the show soon.
Yeah, right.
Gotta give them credit, man. They're playing some very inspired football right now, man. Man, you hate the Falcons that much, don't you? God, you can't even give them that. Wow.
No,
Jesus.
They're an awful football team.
Pretender, obviously. All right. Arizona 2-2 Arizona Cardinals. Go ahead.
This is probably the single hardest one for me to triangulate right now, because there's a lot of things that if you follow conventional wisdom, you would say pretender on the strength of the fact that they're going to have a bad finish, and that's what they do. I've calculated for the fact that they are going to have a bad finish and are having the good finish that I said they would at 2-2, right? So right now I have, because of the way you've worded the question, EJ, I have to say contender for now, because my imagination can't eliminate them. I've set the table for them to make the playoffs, and based on what I've seen here, they will, if they stay on pace, which we don't know. Right.
So I said when the year started, you said when the year started that if they go 3-3 before Hopkins is back, to be okay. So they're 2-2 right now. Next two games they play at home against Philadelphia and then at Seattle.
Which, I mean, listen,
it's in play.
With the way that they've opted to improve the line talent with Russell Carrington Wilson gone, and why the fans aren't flogging Pete Carroll instead of worshiping him as the out of touch moron that he actually is. It baffles me, but I think the table is set for 3-3, provided they handle that road game. That being said, if they are 2-4 at that point, I'm not convinced they're done yet. But I
can see that. It's environment at that point.
Yeah, well, and I guess I could look it up real quick. I'll check when they're due to play the Chargers. If Justin Herbert,
November 27th.
So, yeah, actually, it might be long enough for Herbert to recover. So that's a problem. But, yeah, they have the Saints and Vikings. I can see them winning those games just the same and then coming back home to beat the Seahawks at home and splitting, as I predicted they would. So that's still like 4-4 still on the table. 5-4 still on the table, very convincingly. So,
yeah, I'm going contender also, slightly contender, just because of the optics. All right, how about your Niners?
I have them making it as 9-game winners at spot 7. So
right.
it's a gentle ballot.
And
J.J. Watt batted down a pass on Sunday. So anything's possible.
Yeah, I know that that Raiders win in week 2 will look back as a huge win if they get the playoffs by a game. So
huge.
The same. Your Niners 2-2, big win last night against the Rams.
God,
contender easy. Next question. Let's go.
Yeah, it's hard to take them seriously with their quarterback situation that bad. I know you're going to dance on your alleged prediction, even though it was a guess, not a prediction.
It wasn't a guess. No, it was a spoiler.
No, it was a guess. It was a guess, EJ. Upon what did you base this choice?
They own the Rams, dude. There's a matchup issue. For some reason, whenever they play the Rams, it's always for the last 3 years. For some reason, they just own that fucking team. Sorry.
Okay. So it's pure tradition that you're going on. Okay, that means
that's not pure tradition, though. But
means you didn't predict 3 touchdowns involving plays of 30 yards or more, and I'm including the pick 6, by the way. Right? I know you didn't see a defensive touchdown in the 4th quarter to seal it.
Why? I text you and say, "Oh, I'm right."
Well, no, right. You said that after I said.
You say you're right. Yeah.
Right. Let's put it in perspective, okay? And the 2 things I underestimated for the 49ers where, yeah, I knew their defense was good, but damn. And second, where's Sean McVay? I remember a day when going to lunch with Sean McVay would get you a job interview with an NFL coach, or for an NFL head coach with an NFL franchise, right? What happened to that? Where's your boy McVay there, EJ? Boy, did he get pencil whipped by Kyle Shanahan. D'Amico Ryans worked magic on defense to silence John Matthew Stafford. I get it. But Aaron Charles Donald, I'm not going to say he was a non-factor, but damn, you never would have picked a 30-plus yard touchdown run with Aaron Charles Donald on the field. Never would have done it. So
Contender.
Wait,
Contender. Come on.
Oh yeah, they're contenders. It's just hard for me to do, man.
All right, 2 more teams. Seattle Seahawks.
Pretender. All damn day. Get out my face with Geno Smith. It's adorable.
Bottom 5 team, dude. Stop.
Not a good player.
Bottom 5 team.
He's a backup.
And Detroit should be the bottom 5. This is why they lost that game on fucking Sunday. 48 points. Come on now. Finally, last one here. Chicago Bears. 2-2.
What the? You opted to the same segment with a laugh, I guess. That's your choice. That's your hosting decision here. The Bears.
It was Pretenders. Easy question. I mean,
stop it.
The bottom 5 teams also.
Controversy. Raphael Haynes, who himself is a Bears fan. Stop it.
Pretender, obviously. Plug away, Kyle.
God, that's how we're gonna end this segment.
Yeah. Chicago, man.
Man, and listen, this is no offense to Chicago. Chicago's a great city. I had a lot of fun there when I was there as a kid, and I would go back to the hallowed Midway in question, even to watch an awful Bears team play. Man, I can't even get legs up on it. I'm just gonna have to get out of the show because that was a horrible job to end the segment that way.
The thing is, I added those 2 teams like last second. My bad.
God, why?
I apologize. I just
Jesus. Do you want to bring up your power rankings here since I will possibly miss it?
I'm still on the. I want to save it for the fuck. I'm still on the fence on 10.
Okay,
I'm gonna do no
49ers, and the correct answer is the Jaguars. Moving on.
No. You want to hear it now?
You have the Jaguars at 9. Good.
No, not in the top 10.
You're an idiot. You're such a flaming idiot sometimes. I don't know how to do this.
All right, you want to do the bottom 5 first?
Oh, sure.
28 Bears, 29 Seahawks, 30 Panthers, 31 Commanders, 32 Texans.
Why are the Texans at 32? You just talked about how much better they are than everybody.
You got to win a game at some point, though, man. They're still 0-2-1. They're the only winners team in the league right now.
And by that rationale, I got
to win a game, though, at least, man.
Played against Justin Herbert this week. Hurt, albeit, but what?
No. Anyway, top 10. Here we go. Number 10.
You're wrong.
Number 10. That's simple. Number 10. 49ers.
What?
Number 9, the Bengals.
Better.
8, Ravens. They didn't move for the record. They stayed 8.
I'm noticing that. That's
7, Rams.
Okay.
6, Bucks.
You're an idiot. You're an unprecedented moron.
They were the same spot we last week. We talking about?
Yeah, they need to drop.
Oh, behind who?
But so who was 70 and say it again?
The Rams.
Yeah, I'd put the Rams ahead of the Bucks right now. Easy.
5
Ravens ahead of the Bucks right now. Easy.
We'll see. 5 Dolphins. They fell 2 spots. Don't forget that.
Shut up.
4 Packers.
You've never been third. You're tripling down on stupid.
4. Guys, go on my YouTube page. Look at his face. 4 Packers.
No.
3 Chiefs.
Whoa. 2 weeks ago, they weren't top 10.
They were 7. Then it was 7
against a third-string quarterback, and they're 4th. Stop it.
I understand that, but this is the problem with the rankings, though.
Obviously,
3 Chiefs.
Why are
2
3?
3 Chiefs. Well, remember last week they were 4. So one spot. 2 Eagles.
Okay, now you completely lost.
1 Bills.
Okay, so the Bills, for all intents and purposes, should have lost to the Ravens. You acknowledge
they didn't lose the game though. They came back and won.
What's that?
They came back and won the game though. You always saw that.
They were handed the game. EJ, thank you.
By Jim Harbaugh. Thank you very much.
Right? Yeah, you've acknowledged it.
That's Jim Harbaugh's fault.
Something you've said as a fact to support me doesn't suddenly become on your side because you say yes this. Okay, you blew it. All right. The Bills should not be promoted past your Eagles based on your logic. Okay. I do appreciate to an extent that the Eagles didn't fall too much, But since it's a non-top 10 Jags team against which they struggled despite 5 turnovers, that's an interesting choice to put them ahead of the Chiefs who dominated your boyfriend. What is going on?
So you guys want to do 3 now?
The Eagles at 2 doesn't bother me terribly. The Chiefs need to either be 1 or 2. The Bills at 3, I can live with that. Sure.
All right.
4,
Packers. Who's before then?
Oh God, it's not the Pack. But
then who? The Dolphins? No. Bucks? No. Rams? No. Ravens?
Whoa! Why are we dismissing the Rams so fast? Exactly.
They haven't looked that good out the gate.
They haven't looked that good out the gate. Playing
even their wins haven't looked that great.
2 of the toughest defenses within their schedule.
The only game they've played well was against Arizona. That's it. She lost to Atlanta. Atlanta had them fucking dead rights. Late.
So that's you believing in the fraud cons.
I'm not being fucking. No, it's not. It's me looking at a team that's not playing well right now. No, they'll win the division.
You're holding them to a higher standard because they're the defending champions.
You damn fucking right I am.
Well, then that's ridiculous.
But I'm also giving a little more leash to on top of that.
Comes into play. By that rationale, the Bengals should be for it, right?
What you're not assessing for, though, is the fact that the parity right now in this league is fucking insane.
It is.
Look at this. And on this list here alone, from Bucks 2-2, Rams 2-2, Ravens 2-2, Bengals 2-2, Niners 2-2.
Then a 4th into the season, and you're talking about records. That's dumb.
Well, if I had records, I would use number 1. They're not number 1. So what are you talking about?
Wait, what?
If I was so based on records only,
of the Gilmore Girls, talk slower.
If this was based on the Eagles and records and stuff, they'd be number 1 right now. They're not number 1.
Well, yeah, you can't get away with that. I've already busted you on that. You probably changed that while we were talking in your notes.
For our listeners.
Notes for once.
For our listeners, the reason why we did this is because Kyle and I, we go on every Tuesday night, we do a Hello podcast. Bing. And we do a segment on the show called Tool Time, which is basically my power rankings. Anyway, so unfortunately tonight's episode, Kyle will not be there for that segment because he has to go do some other shit somewhere else. And
hey, respect the matchup madness for the Play Callers Network.
Okay. But you're not with us, so as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter to me.
Well, that's selfish and fair. But go ahead.
You damn right. I'm very territorial about my people. Come on now. So anyway, he won't be there. So he
at 6. God,
he loves shit in my rankings. So we figure, okay, instead of doing it there, do it here.
That makes it unique to me.
Yeah. Mostly to you.
The only one that sees how your rankings have more holes than any Swiss cheese I put on my daughter's sandwich.
Anyway, plug away. Hour and 12 minutes for the segment today. Holy shit. This should be an episode in itself. This shouldn't even be a Football's Awesome episode. This should be an episode in itself.
It can be. I mean, but this is mostly because of horrible hosting by you putting up such ridiculousness as like Bears, Contender, or Pretender. We know! Anyway.
Plug away.
Listen, honor and joy and privilege. If you're interested in watching EJ get mugged on Tuesday night, check out the Huddle Up podcast. Bing! More on that then. And then, of course, you know me as Kyle Nash, a student of the game. You'll find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as a student of the game. Check out my work covering the UCF Knights for Black and Gold Banneret. That's basketball and football. And of course, check out my work covering the NFL and the Jacksonville Jaguars on the 3pointconversion.com. That's the number 3, not the letter 3, or the word 3. Keep saying the letter 3. That's not a letter, dummy. I got 2 young kids. You'd think I know numbers and letters by now. But of course, among that, check out the Matchup Mania. Of course, you heard me also mention the Matchup Madness on the Play Callers Network that I participate in on Tuesday nights as well after the Huddle Up podcast. Check out the Play Callers Network on YouTube as well. And then also Demosthenes, Euclid, and Hilarity by Default's required viewing. There will be more of that coming. It's going to change formats once again here once Demos handles things in his life. I'm told winter is coming on that. But there's a lot going on there. But still, check out
next winter or this winter.
That's Still to be determined.
He's getting married, though. Congrats, Demos.
Yes, he is. Yeah, congrats to him. That should be fun. I'll be going to, I believe it'll be me going to Greece at some point. That'll be interesting. And then, check out the Hilarity by Default YouTube channel, by the way, in connection with that. And, of course, check out my work with the Captain and Company Morning Show with Captain Chris Hill, A7BN Sports on oldschool101.com. Yeah. EJ Christian, honor, joy, and privilege, except for some of the horrible categories that elongated this episode artificially. But until next time, buddy, class dismissed.
Go Heat, bitch.